Hey, look what we found when we came to Washington, D.C. to begin a 3-game series against the Nationals. Yes, some Phillies fans, but also the sun. We haven't seen it in 5 days. The Phils are back in the National League East after 3 against Arizona and 4 out in Denver against the Rockies. This is the second time the Phillies have ventured to D.C. this year. So far, 7 games overall. There was a series up in Philly and a series down here in Washington. 7 games. Nationals lead the season series 4 games to 3. They've outscored the Phillies by 6. Each team has won their home series. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Matt Stairs. We got him some vitamin D because of the sun here in D.C. All right, so we get set for this weekend matchup. And usually, when you look at the matchups against the Nationals lately, you look at their pitching staff and say, man, where are the runs going to come? But this has not been a lights-out pitching staff this year. No, it hasn't. They've had some struggling times. This is the type of team that go out there, and on paper they were supposed to go out there and win all these games and be 100-game winners this year. And you can see the matchups this weekend. It'd be interesting if we would have saw Max versus Cole. That game might have been about an hour and 40 minutes. But, really, we're throwing our 3 top pitchers right now that they're throwing very well, and they're throwing their top 3 pitchers. Strasburg, I think, can be better, 5.98 ERA. He just needs to throw more strikes, and he hasn't done that lately. But last meeting with Max Scherzer, this guy is just amazing to watch. His changeup is ridiculous. It's almost like his fastball, same slot, his slider. What I find very interesting with him is he lives right around 91, 92 miles an hour fastball, but when he needs a strikeout pitch, he can throw it 97 miles an hour, the 4-seam fastball, his 2-seamer moves everywhere, and he has a very good slider as well. Well, you take a look at what he's done against the Phillies this year. This will be his 3rd start, and it's also his 3rd matchup against Sean O'Sullivan. How strange is that? The Nats starters minus Scherzer, a 4.76 ERA. Well, it's very different when you see a guy 3 times and they're facing the same guy each time. So, this is a game of adjustments. I'd like to see our guys be a little more patient, put the ball in play a little bit more because he's a power arm. He strikes out a lot of players. So really make the adjustment off how he's pitching you from the last 2 times. It's harder, I find, when you're facing a pitcher the 3rd time around because it's easier for a pitcher to make an adjustment than it is for a hitter. Yeah, Ryan Sandberg said he wants his teams to pick out a fastball because Scherzer's certainly going to throw them one during their at-bat. It is game 1 of this 3-game series. Hey, how about Bryce Harper, what he's done in the month of May? He's hit well over 350, 10 home runs. Yes, you have to contend with him. The series opener is next. Phillies baseball is brought to the left and Aaron Harang to the right. That's right, with the catcher's gear on. I think he's expecting that he's going to be out there for quite some time, so that's why he's got the gear on, just to protect himself. He also has a catcher's mitt that he's utilizing as well. We'll see who goes to their respective dugouts first. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be Revere, Galvis, and Utley, followed by Ryan Howard, Michael Franco, Grady Sizemore. And the bottom third of Odubel Herrera, Carlos Ruiz, and Sean O'Sullivan. And they'll face 30-year-old right-hander Max Scherzer, his first season with the Washington Nationals, his second go-around in the National League. 4-3, an ERA of 1.75. He has struck out 66 so far. They haven't scored a lot of runs in some of his games. He's had one real bad outing, but he wound up winning it. He gave up 5 earned runs. He hadn't given up more than 2 earned runs in any other game.
I mean, he's got a tremendous arm, and the Budweiser scouting report, 4 very good pitches. All right, the league is hitting against his changeup 200. His curveball 111. His fastball 220, and his slider 217. So he has great control of all 4 pitches. He mixes in a cutter once in a while. And oh, by the way, he's never given up a hit against his cutter either. So.
Well, Bruce Streckman, the third base umpire, is coming down the line, and he's asking Aaron Harang, hey, Aaron, can we get this over with, or are we going to keep on going? They are still there. They've been standing out there since the anthem, so it's about 6 or 7 minutes in length. I don't know. I guess we're going to just keep it going. Max Scherzer on the mound, ready to go. Barrett still has his hand over his heart. Ben Revere is in the batter's box. And now Scherzer steps off the back of the mound. I don't think he's too pleased right now. Harang will just hang there as long as he needs to. Now he walks away, and the first pitch is in there. It's 0-1. And Barrett feels like he has won the standoff because Harang did leave before Barrett left. I'm not sure why it's going on. Ben Revere hitting .256 overall, and he fouls that one away. It's 0-2. He is hitless in his last 10 at-bats. Well, here's the departure. They were kind of signaling to each other, and Harang leaves, and Barrett stays. And the reaction from the dugout. No balls, 2 strikes to Revere. And Revere floats that one into shallow left field, and Desmond makes the running catch. 1 out here in the top of the first. And Freddie Galvis will be the batter. We'd like to welcome everybody to Memorial Day weekend. They're expecting big crowds here in D.C. for these next 3 games, and then the Phillies are off to New York to take on the Mets on Memorial Day. Weather's supposed to be fantastic this weekend down here in Washington, D.C. Galvis overall hitting .319. He's 10th in the league in hitting. He has just 3 hits on this road trip. And that's why his average is dipped down to .319. Inside corner, and it's 0-2.
Well, you don't have to be too picky to wait for a fastball because you're going to get one. 5 pitches, 5 fastballs, 5 strikes.
In the dirt, and it's 1-2. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Wes Boyer of Myerstown, PA. Phillies hit a home run at today's ball game, then Wes will win $100. Ryan Sandberg said before the ball game that he thinks it's an advantage for the Phillies that they've seen Scherzer twice already this year. Not an advantage so far for Ben Revere and Freddie Galvis. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Well, it's time now, Matt, for our Nissan keys to tonight's ball game.
Well, key number 1, I would like to see 3 or 4 bunt attempts by the Phillies hitters. I don't think Escobar has really showed me enough at third base. And I would also like, do not allow Harper to beat you. If he is hot, hitting wise, leave it alone.
Seems like a very important key. You made the do and the not red just to emphasize it.
That's how I roll, Tom.
Chase Utley's the batter. He takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Utley 6 for 14 in the series against the Rockies. Scored 4 runs. He's hit in 6 consecutive games. And he fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. During that 6-game hitting streak, you see what he's done. 9 hits in 20 at-bats. And Utley lifts it foul over the Phillies dugout. And out of play. And he runs the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
One thing I've noticed with Chase in his swing right now is that point of contact, he has authority behind his swing, where before it almost like he was that swing like the field just to make contact. Now he's going up there and he's letting the bat go through the zone pretty good. If you swing and miss, so what?
Well, you saw those splits for him during the season. Fly ball down the left field line. Clint Robinson into foul territory. Looks like he's there. And the side is retired. Pretty easy first inning for Max Scherzer. Phillies go down 1-2-3. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Sean O'Sullivan is ready to go. They're 14-4 in the month of May. Let's take a look at his starting lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phils. Span, Desmond, and Escobar, followed by Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, and Wilson Ramos. In the bottom third of Clint Robinson, Danny Espinosa, and Max Scherzer. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Sean O'Sullivan, who picked up his first victory since 2011 in his last outing. So in 4 starts, 1-2 with an ERA of 3.68. First pitch to Denard Span, taken upstairs, 1 ball and no strikes. Budweiser scouting report, Matt.
The Budweiser scouting report uses all 4 pitches, and the league is hitting 160 against his slider and 0.67 versus his changeup.
And that seems to have gotten better even over the last couple of starts.
Well, and it's due to confidence of throwing the pitch and realizing that you're getting pretty good movement on it, and not afraid to throw it at any time or any part of the count.
See Span's numbers. It includes a 9-game hitting streak. He's had 1 hit in each of the last 3 games. And he takes outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. He's one of 3 guys, or 4 guys I should say, in the starting lineup tonight for the Nationals that are hitting well over 300 in the month of May. He's hitting 356 with 1 of his 3 home runs. Off the hands, out towards shallow left center. Freddie Galvis puts it away. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Here's Ian Desmond, his average at 244. He has hit 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in. Swings at the first pitch, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-1. Well, like Span, Desmond also has a hitting streak. His is 6 games, and like Span, he's had 1 hit in each of the last 3. 3 for 9 in the series against the Yankees.
Not very many pitches that Desmond does not like to swing at. He will swing at every pitch because he feels like he can hit every pitch out of the ballpark.
That's a bit low and in. It's 2-1. He does have great power. I mean, he's a 3-time Silver Slugger winner, which means he had the best offensive numbers for a shortstop in the National League. Well, he swings under that pitch, and it's 2-2.
This is a slider that didn't slide a whole lot. Big swing. He's kind of backed up a little bit.
Fortunately, it kind of backed up a little bit.
Yes.
And a called strike 3.
That one didn't back up.
No, that was a good location on the part of Sean O'Sullivan, and he fooled Ian Desmond. First strikeout of the night.
Well, this is a very good slider right here. Starts at outer corner. Kind of just drops down right there on Chooch's glove. But I think a lot of it has to do with a couple of fastballs inside. Then he goes to a slider. Then all of a sudden a hitter starts thinking, okay, he's going to come back inside again. Drop the slider, strike 3.
Yunel Escobar, the number 3 hitter, is the batter, and he chops the first pitch foul, and it's 0-1. All right, Matt, explain something to me. We're sitting up here. We have a great view of the field. I mean, we're up in the upper deck. We can see everything going on around home plate without any problem whatsoever. Why, oh why, did Yunel Escobar clear out the top part of the batter's box? And he did it methodically before he came into his stance.
Well, if you can see right there, that's where his foot starts. So if he takes a stride,
so he could be out of the box.
He must think that the umpire will not see that. A lot of guys will wipe off the back part of the lineup. Well, he does, which I hated to stand that far in front of home plate. I felt like I was rushed. But he wants to get as close as he can. He is close.
2 balls and 1 strike to Escobar. Outside, it's 3-1.
Does that answer your question?
It does. I mean, I assumed that was part of it, but watch what he does as he takes this stride. Is he out of the box?
No, he's in. He's fine there. He's right on the line.
On his line?
On his line.
Yeah. On the inside corner, it's 3-2. I mean, he was pretty methodical about it. He swept it back and forth, and then drew a new line with his spikes. I guess where he wanted it to be.
Well, that's where he wants to land, probably.
He'll be followed by Bryce Harper. And a called strike 3. He threw a fastball toward the outer edge. He gets the last 2 hitters looking, and the side is retired in order. Well, the Phillies went down 1-2-3, and Sean O'Sullivan using a good mixture of pitches to set the Nationals down in order in their half of the first. and the Cincinnati Reds, a 3-game series. You can purchase your tickets by going to Phillies.com. We head to the top of the second inning. Ryan Howard will lead things off. Howard hitting .257 with 9 homers and 21 runs batted in. That's a bit low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Howard has 6 hits in 17 at bats in the series. Against the Rockies. And he lines that one out toward right center field. Span's not going to get it. It is off the top of the wall. Howard better hurry. The throw to second base. Nobody was covering, and Howard gets under the tag. A leadoff double for Ryan Howard here in the top of the second inning. So Desmond went to third, and Escobar went out because Escobar was on the right side of the diamond with the 3-man shifts.
Yeah, and that's, he's not going to get a triple. So you line up for second base to play a ball off the wall expanded, make a very nice throw in. I can understand if it's a fast runner, but you're still lined up for the throw to second base.
Boy, how about the duck on the slide by Howard? His head went down, and that's what avoided the tag by Yunel Escobar. 9th double of the season for Howard. Here is Maikel Franco. Franco takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. By the way, first hit for Ryan Howard against Max Scherzer.
Might have been his first contact. Nope, second.
He had been 0 for 7 with a bushel of strikeouts. 1 ball, 1 strike. Franco had 4 hits in the series against the Rockies. He also drove in some runs for the Phillies and scored some. He has 5 RBIs and 5 runs scored so far in his first week. And he lines it foul and out of play, and it's 1-2.
This might be a bat that helps him out. Franco, knowing that he needs to hit the ball to the right side of the infield or the outfield. Stay back a little bit, slow his body down a little bit. He had a pretty good swing on that fastball right there. Now your job is to make contact. You don't worry so much about going to right field.
In the dirt, and it's 2-2. Yeah, one of his hits so far has been to right field. But everything else he's been pulling. Now, down in the minor leagues, he was hitting the ball the opposite way and doing it with authority.
But I will say this, though, down in the minor leagues, he was probably being pitched totally different. He was that slugger down there in the AAA where this guy cannot hurt you in the lineup. So he was probably hitting in 3-1 counts, 2-0 counts a lot.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Franco. Howard creeps off second. And he grounds it back to the mound. They've got Howard between second and third. The throw to second is in time to get Ryan Howard. Well, Ryan just left too early on that one. He thought the ball had gotten past Scherzer. At least it seemed that way. I think maybe he more hoped the ball got past Scherzer. 1-6 on the putout, and there's 1 away.
Well, this is a play here. Actually, you work on this in spring training a lot. A lot of baseball balls are hit back towards the pitcher, and you have to read it to try to get past the pitcher. And I think Ryan kind of got fooled with the velocity the ball came off the bat. Made it was a very easy play for Max to play on the mound.
So Franco's at first. 1 down for Grady Sizemore. Sizemore is hitting .340 in his last 18 games, although he has cooled off. His average of .253. Now, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. You can run on Scherzer. He doesn't have a great move over to first base.
No, he doesn't like throwing to first base. He can slide step at times. But Ramos has a very good arm.
Sizemore with 1 hit in 15 at-bats against Max Scherzer. it's 0-2. Nine strikeouts and 17 0-2 at bats for Sizemore. And time is called. Scherzer was holding that on purpose for Franco at first base. And a foul tip and a strikeout. Second strikeout for Scherzer tonight. And that'll bring Odubel Herrera to the plate. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
Much, Tom. Well, it is no secret that Max Scherzer is one of the best right-handers in all of baseball. In 2013, of course, he won the Cy Young, winning 21 games with the Tigers, won 18 games the next season, and then came over to Washington. But believe it or not, if you look at his numbers, well, he may be getting better. At least his fastball command seems to be getting better. Take a look at that in 2014. The percentage of his strikeouts on his fastball, 49%, up to 62% at this point, and throwing more strikes as well. 74% of his pitches, his fastballs, are thrown for strikes. He is just absolutely just finding the zone and pounding the fastball into the zone, and it has been very effective for him so far this year in a Nationals uniform. So as good as he has been, it looks like that fastball is getting better and better, guys.
Well, you look at some of the numbers. He has dominated the National League so far. In 7 of the 8 games he's pitched, he's allowed 1 earned run or less. In 6 of the 8 that he's pitched, in 6 of the 8 games he's pitched, he's allowed 1 earned runs or less. In 7 of 8, he's allowed just 2 earned runs or less. Incredible. See where his rankings are in the National League this season. Opponents hitting just .207. In fact, the Phillies base hit tonight, the double by Howard. It's only their 11th hit against Scherzer in 15 2/3 innings. 0-2 to Odubel Herrera. And that was just a bit low, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and one thing that makes his two-seamer so well, and a two-seamer compared to a four-seamer, a two-seamer has that late run that will sink at the very end, and a four-seam fastball has a backspin, and it's a riser. So when he wants to pitch to contact, he'll throw a two-seamer low and away, get early swings. He goes to the strikeout, he'll throw 4 seamers.
He throws a breaking ball there to try to get Herrera. They do appeal quickly, and no swings is Bruce Dreckman. And it's 2-2 to Odubel, who is 3 for 13 on this road trip so far.
Some pitchers throw their two-seamer faster or throw harder than their four-seamers. Roy Halladay, he never threw a four-seamer. He couldn't control it.
And Odubel stays alive, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, I think the thing about Scherzer, if you're the Nationals, I mean, they've invested so much money and so many years in him that they like what they've seen so far. Because the rest of the rotation has really been somewhat humdrum as far as their ERA goes.
I mean, they really have. I mean, the remainder of the Zimmerman's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Strasburg has struggled. He hasn't found. I refer to him as a young Zach Greinke. He didn't know if he wanted to be a power arm pitcher or if he wanted to be an off-speed pitcher.
Odubel sends one to the air to center field. Span going back. It is off the top of the wall. Rounding third. Heading for home is Franco. He looks back at the last moment but will score easily. It's an RBI double for Odubel Herrera, and the Phillies take a 1-0 lead. 10th two-base hit of the year for Odubel Herrera.
Well, we talk about squaring a ball up. Well, this ball was squared up. A nice, easy leg kick. And when someone throws that hard, you allow them to generate the power. Just missed in the second home run of the year. But it's just a nice, easy swing. The harder guys throw, the easier swing you take as the ball will jump off that bat. Unbelievable.
So the Phillies lead it 1-0. Here's Carlos Ruiz with a runner at second base. And Carlos takes a breaking ball over the outside part. It's 0-1. So 2 balls off the wall today in this inning for the Phils. One by Howard. You kind of expect that. And one by Herrera. So Matt Williams, his team is down 1-0. Scherzer kind of dropped down a little bit, 3/4 on that.
He did. He was trying to get some movement. He will drop down once in a while. You drop down your arm angle, you throw a two-seamer, and the ball will move 8 to 10 inches more than it will when you do it normally.
Tough pitch to hit right there. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, they're forcing him to throw some pitches too after a very quick first inning. A couple of base runners will do that. He's got 20 pitches in this inning so far. Swing and a miss. Through the changeup, and Ruiz strikes out. 3 strikeouts for Scherzer, but Odubel Herrera's double off the wall in left center field has given the Phils an early lead. All Denard Span could do was play it and try to hold Franco, but he couldn't. p.m. The only station with 20 minutes of nonstop news weekdays at 4. NBC 10. Count on it. Oh, we go to the bottom of the second inning here at Nationals Park. Crowd continues to file in. In fact, there's a bunch of folks that are still coming in from the Metro. And it's still a little sunny out in the outfield, keeping themselves a little warm. Phillies lead at 1-0, and it'll be Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, Wilson Ramos. And right out of the chute, take a look at what Harper's done this year. I mean, 3rd in hitting, 1st in homers, 2nd in RBIs, and look at all the firsts he has toward the bottom, including 37 walks this year. First pitch to him is hit foul over the Phillies dugout, and it's 0-1.
He has been off to a very good start. What impresses me so far is his power everywhere. Very impressive.
Another foul ball, and it's 0-2. Well, the month of May alone, 10 home runs, a .393 batting average. He was only 1 for 5 against the Yankees. Now, he was ejected in one ball game for arguing balls and strikes. 0-2 pitch. And he pulls a foul. Well, that stretch between May 6th and May 12th, where he was the National League Player of the Week. In fact, he was back-to-back National League Player of the Week. .565 with 7 home runs in 6 games.
So my question is, if he's doing that well and hitting all these home runs, why doesn't he have like 12 or 15 walks? Why do you pitch to a guy who is extremely hot hitting the ball? Sorry.
I don't have an answer for you on that. I mean, he does lead the league in walks.
And he should. If right now, he's one of the best ball players in baseball. All right, with the numbers he's have and the role he's on, he should lead the league in walks until he cools off.
That one is sliced down the left field line, angling toward the pole, and it is gone. Into the flower bed, and we're tied up at 1. That's his 16th home run of the year, his league-leading 16th home run. Maybe you should have underlined the "do not let Harper beat you."
Well, I mean, he hasn't beat you yet, but that's what I'm talking about with the power everywhere he hits his home runs. 1, he is extremely strong. 2, this is supposed to be a fastball inside. He messes it up and away. And 3, he's got extremely good bat speed. And he uses his whole body when he pitches. He actually Sullivan threw 4 pitches that inning that were supposed to be 4 fastballs inside. He missed every single time out over the plate.
Well, it's a 1-1 game. Ryan Zimmerman's the batter, and he takes upstairs. It's 1 ball and no strikes. You are right, though, about the power to all fields. And I mean, that's that's something we're used to seeing with Ryan Howard, where he can hit the ball out in left field, he can hit it out to right field. And the ball was hit so hard it didn't even slice.
Now, a great example with this is going to be the last thing I'm going to talk about Harper, hopefully through the rest of the night. He lets the ball get deep in the strike zone. So, and it gets back closer towards Chooch. Then he decides he's going to make that contact. That's what allows him to drive the ball to left field. If he's a hair early, he's going to hit it to right field. And if he's on perfect timing, he's going to hit it to center field. So good bat speed, good technique, and very strong. That's why he hits a lot of home runs. Oh, and he's good, and he's confident. A lot of confidence.
3-0 pitch is in at the knees. It's 3-1. You know, and the normal answer would be, why wouldn't he be walked more? It would be because of a guy like Ryan Zimmerman. But Zimmerman's not having a normal Ryan Zimmerman year.
No.
5 home runs and 31 runs batted in. It's that one to right field, right toward Grady Sizemore, comes running in. Yeah, there's 1 out here in the second. So Sean O'Sullivan has his first out of the inning, and Wilson Ramos is going to come to the plate. Ramos 1 for 8 with a home run in the Yankees series. And you see what he's done in the month of May. And it's the reason why the Nationals are 14-4 in the month of May.
A lot of Ramos's hits during the streak were singles. Just lately, he's starting to drive the ball again, hitting some doubles, hit a home run.
Out towards center field. Odubel Herrera will go toward the alley in right center to make that catch. 2 outs. And Clint Robinson's coming up. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser is still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. 2 outs. Clint Robinson's coming up. Robinson's getting a chance to play a little bit, just as Michael Taylor is and Tyler Moore is, because of the injury to Jason Worth. Worth is on the disabled list with a left wrist injury. It's the same wrist that's been bothering him for much of his time here in Washington. In fact, he had a cast on that wrist, and we saw him stretching with the rest of his teammates before the ball game. Oh, and 2 to Robinson.
Sean has to throw a fastball in off the plate here. He has tried it about 6 or 7 times, and the ball keeps on coming back. He needs to throw it inside. One, for confidence, knowing that he's not afraid to throw inside again. Because as a pitcher, you start throwing fastballs inside and it starts tailing back out over the middle of the plate, you get away from that pitch because you're afraid you're going to make a mistake like Bryce hit the home run. Perfect time right here to throw a fastball inside and move his feet.
Yeah, Bob McClure has talked a lot about that, particularly over the last 2 or 3 weeks, about just making sure that you don't hit the guy, but you just make him uncomfortable in the batter's box. Right. Ground ball right side. Chase Utley has it. And on the edge of the outfield grass, he'll throw out Clint Robinson. Side is retired, but the Nationals get their first hit. And it's a home run by Bryce Harper. It's his league-leading 16th home run. The opposite way, it just got out into the flower bed. We're tied at 1 as we go to the 3rd. For all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, here we go. What player had the best on-base percentage in 2014 after being down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes on a Tuesday? The answer will be revealed a little later on in the ball game.
Lefty or righty hitter?
He's a right-handed hitter.
Right-handed hitter.
Yeah.
American League or National League?
National League, and that's the last hint I'll give you until we get close to the answer.
Yeah, I really have a shot on this one.
Sean O'Sullivan takes strike 1. It's 0-1.
I think I might have to have a little chat with Sang here after today's game.
John DeSangro, our associate producer, comes up with the questions for the Jeeps Stump the Fans trivia quiz. 0-2 pitch to O'Sullivan, and he'll go get ready to get back on the mounds. 1 away here in the 3rd. Top of the order, Ben Revere's coming up. Well, we talked about the Nationals. Last time we saw them, they were struggling. They really were. I mean, they were down in the division, 7-13. They weren't hitting. Their ERA was okay. Now you fast forward to since the 28th, they're 17-4. Yes, they're hitting. Yes, they are scoring runs. They're scoring 3 more runs per game and averaging close to a home run more per game. Pitching's basically the same.
Yep. And I think it has a lot to do with the center fielder. Span coming back healthy. Get your leadoff hitter back. It's hitting 330. And Jason Worth and Rendon are hurt now. But when you lose your leadoff hitter for a while, guys shuffle in and out of positions of hitting.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Revere. He takes a changeup. Ben popped out to short. He's now 0 for his last 11. His average of 255. Breaks his bat, loops it into right field, a base hit. Pretty quick turn on that pitch by Revere. And that's the 3rd hit for the Phils tonight. Monday, June 1st is the Phillies Festival. It benefits the ALS Association, the Greater Philadelphia chapter. Matt and I have been part of it for a number of years, him as a player. And, of course, we're looking forward to being out there again. We will get a chance to say hello to a lot of the fans while we're there. There'll be autograph booths from the 2015 Phillies players. Mike Schmidt will be there with his own photo booth. There'll be grab bags. Every roll's a winner, which is always fun because everybody wins something. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to Phillies.com or call 215-463-1000. Freddie Galvis is the batter. He takes low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Galvis struck out his first time up. Do you think he does that on purpose, or is that?
I just don't think he has a very good move, or he doesn't feel comfortable throwing to first base. You watch now, he'll pick him off, but a lot of pitchers do not like to throw to first base.
Galvis lifts it to left center field. Span on the run, sprinting back toward the wall, makes the over-the-shoulder grab. Now there are 2 outs. Last year, Denard Span was beat out for the Gold Glove by Juan Lagares of the New York Mets, who's a very gifted defender. Span's numbers were actually better. The real basic numbers, assists and putouts and stuff like that. And this is why he is considered to be a Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
Well, I mean, both center fielders get tremendous jumps. And it might sound funny, but they do not panic. They see the ball come off the bat, they react. If they don't think they can get there, they kind of have that second gear to kick it in to get there to catch the ball.
Yeah, Dubal's been fantastic for the Phils this year.
Yes.
Chase Utley's now the hitter. He's 0 for 1, fly to left his first time up.
That ball seems to be carrying pretty good today.
Yeah, and the wind is whipping. I mean, as we said, we're at the top of the stadium. We're in the upper deck, and we can feel the wind, but it's all from up here. It feels like the wind's coming in.
Right.
But it must be different down on the field. Utley pops it up left side of the infield. Ian Desmond, the shortstop, waits, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We've played 2.5 onto the bottom of the 3rd. Phillies and the Nationals evened up at 1. DelawareValleyHonda.com. Buy W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And buy your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com today. We're tied at 1. We go to the bottom of the third here at Nationals Park. And Danny Espinosa will lead things off. Espinosa hitting .269 with 5 home runs and 13 runs batted in. First pitch is upstairs, 1 ball and no strikes. Nationals have used Espinosa and Dan Uggla at second base so far this season. They're fortunate that they kept Espinosa. They're fortunate they have Uggla. They're fortunate they have Escobar because of the injury to Rendon.
Well, this is the best they say that Espinosa has been swinging for a long time. And this is the player they expected he was going to be when they signed him.
Tried to check his swing. Did he go? Yes, says Alfonso Marquez. Now, what they did say, and we talked about this during the series up in Philadelphia, he's a switch hitter. Right. Now, he was thinking about and did at one time get rid of being a switch hitter and batted right-handed, solely right-handed. But during spring training went back to being a switch hitter again. They say from time to time he will bat right-handed against a right-handed pitcher. And he's down on strikes. That's the 3rd strikeout for O'Sullivan, who aside from the Harper home run has been sharp tonight, even though he's been up somewhat in the strike zone. Scherzer is 3 for 20 this season with 9 strikeouts. Chopper left side, charging is Galvis, and he fires the throw over to first base. Scherzer was moving up the line. 2 outs here in the 3rd. Well, I mentioned that this is the 3rd time this year that Sean O'Sullivan and Max Scherzer have faced each other. Now, has this happened before? Yes. Kershaw and Bumgarner, they met yesterday for the 3rd time. Tim Lincecum and Brett Anderson have already faced each other 3 times. And Adam Warren from the Yankees and Nate Carnes of the Rays have faced each other 3 times. The MLB record is 13. That was way back in 1877. 13 times in a season. 1 ball and no strikes to Denard Span. Yep. Bumgarner, Kershaw, O'Sullivan, and Scherzer. What do they have in common?
They're all big leaguers.
That one is shot towards short on 1 hop. Galvis is up with it. And an easy inning for O'Sullivan. He's done a nice job so far through 3. He's allowed just the 1 run, the home run by Bryce Harper. He threw just 8 pitches to get through the 3rd. We'll go to the 4th. Ryan Howard will lead things off. of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup pods to keep you running. Order by 11:30 and get free same-day delivery. Who but WB Mason? We go to the top of the 4th inning. Max Scherzer just finishing up his warm-up tosses. He'll face Ryan Howard, Maikel Franco, and Grady Sizemore. Phillies scored a run in their half of the 2nd, and then the Nationals countered with their run in the bottom of the 2nd. Howard's average now at 262. Matt, you look at those numbers and you think there's nothing wrong with Ryan Howard. I mean, it looks like he is as close to what we used to see as he's been in quite some time.
Well, the bat speed's there, that's for sure. He's hitting mistakes, which early in the season he was getting pitches to hit, fouling them off. It's nice to see.
Moves out of the way of that one. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. And he threw him a changeup, and it's 1-2. That's the hardest fastball he's thrown tonight, 96 miles an hour.
That's where he doesn't throw it all the time, but he has it in the tank. That's what we talked about earlier in the open. If he wants to throw it hard, he can.
I just think it's so hard as a pitcher. I don't know at what age you decide, okay, I know I have 96, 97. I'm just not going to use it all the time. I think if I had it, I would use it all the time. See the range of his pitches, 4-seamer, changeup and slider. And Howard fouls back a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. See the ratio for Scherzer. He's at 50 pitches, just 15 balls. Oh, he's seen 2 straight fastballs. Let's see what he gets here. Got him a changeup. 5 strikeouts for Scherzer. 1 away. Maikel Franco is the batter. Let's check back in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, wouldn't you know it that the Fanatic was out and about yesterday at the NJEA Phillies Fanatic about learning pep rally. Koshania Bumpus from the middle school of Pleasantville in Pleasantville, New Jersey, won an essay contest that got the gang to come out to the school in Pleasantville. Where she wrote about her language arts teacher, Renee Irwin, right there. She said she just makes learning better. The event was held to spotlight talented and committed educators working in New Jersey public schools. Looks like a good time had by all.
It did look like there was a good time out there.
Good.
Well, the Fanatic in everything that he has done during his career, one of the best things that he has been able to do with his close confidant, Tom Burgoyne, is write those children's books and really push reading throughout the Delaware Valley and beyond. 2-0 pitch to Franco, and he chops it back to the mound for the 2nd time. 1-3 on the putout, 2 away. Well, the Fanatic About Reading Night at Citizens Bank Park will be Friday, May 29th, when the Rockies are in town. It's Comcast Fanatic About Reading Night, a free Fanatics children's book to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. You know, Matt, maybe we'll get you to read one of those Fanatic children's books for one of the end of the year videos. I've done one before. We'll get you to do the next one. Let's get Murph to do the one after that.
Sure.
Just make sure you don't eat any ice cream before you do it.
See, I can say Kimbrel when I need to.
0-1 to Sizemore. He struck out in his first time up. That one's out towards center field. Span on the run again, out toward the warning track, and he gets there. Well, the Phillies have utilized the wind here tonight. That one again to the track. They've had 2 off the wall, 2 to the track. We're still tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. That ends June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. Buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians. And buy Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. We're tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. They just had a malfunction during the president's race. There's Teddy trying to crank the jack-in-the-box. And the handle broke, so he just starts to twist it. It's improv theater, folks. That's what it is. And they wait, and they wait, and they wait even more. And Ian Desmond floats one out towards shallow left. Here comes Revere. He makes the catch.
You're going to need a tissue.
It's one away. I mean, we've seen a lot of these races before. This could have been the worst bit going. And then we're not sure what jumped out of the box. Is it the bearded lady from the carnival? I'm not sure. And that allowed the president's race to conclude. And Bill Taft, William Howard Taft won the race. They've got to work on that one, I think. Here's Escobar with one away. Escobar struck out his first time up, and he hits that one toward the middle, and Galvis can't get to it. Hit it just hard enough to slip past Freddie, so only the second hit of the night for the Nationals, and that'll bring Harper to the plate with a runner at first. Harper homer to left field is only time up. So he's 1 for 1. 11 home runs now here in the month of May. Not a bad spot with that pitch there. It just missed outside. 1-0.
Yeah, and that's where a pitch, you want to standing up, pitch inside, or have a nice two-seam fastball or a very good changeup down and away to Bryce Harper. Anything up is a dangerous area, or down and in, of course, as a left-handed hitter. He kind of bails, meaning he gets that front foot down early, and his front hip opens early, and relies on his power and his strength to drive the ball to the ballpark.
Fouls it back, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
He just cannot get that fastball inside.
Mentioned that Bryce Harper was ejected from one of the games against the Yankees because he argued with Marvin Hudson on a low pitch. It was called a strike. Marvin Hudson, according to reports after the game, that Harper told the media it wasn't all about the argument of balls and strikes. It was because the umpire said that Harper stepped out of the batter's box and had been doing it too much after a pitch, like now.
Like right now.
You look at the replay of when Marvin Hudson threw him out, he actually didn't step out of the box. He had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's the first time we've seen somebody ejected for doing that. 3 balls, 1 strike. Back toward the middle, off the mound. Galvis has got it. He'll get to the second base bag. Throw on the run. It's dug out by Howard. A double play started by Freddie Galvis, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. 4 in the books. We're still tied up at 1. Watched Matt Williams shake his head. Matt, why was he doing this?
Well, for me, it was a 3-1 count to Bryce Harper. Bob Henley, the third base coach, he was telling him not to steal. I don't want you trying to steal. Well, and it worked out for the advantage for the Phillies because he couldn't get to second base to beat the force play. Galvis makes a nice play, has time to get to second base. Very nice play by Ryan Howard, by the way. So a lot of times coaches will go through signs. The head shake means no, stay there. So it worked out very well for the Phillies right there.
That's a good pickup on your part because I was wondering why he was shaking his head. It was after a pitch to Harper. And I thought it was something that Harper was doing. I didn't realize it was something that Bob Henley was doing with Escobar over first. Part of the reason why we're still tied at 1. Odubel Herrera was the reason the Phillies had a 1-0 lead. He doubled his first time up, drove in a run.
And there's a few reasons why you don't want your runner to take off in that situation. 1, you get that big hole at first base if you foul a ball off. And 2, on a 3-ball, 2-strike pitch, now all of a sudden there's a good chance you're going to get a breaking ball. So he wants him to stay at first base. And why try to steal base when Bryce Harper's hitting the ball well?
Harper is straight away in right field, but the left fielder Clint Robinson is way over toward the line. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. See the defensive alignment.
You know, and usually this is where your left fielder's straight up. You try to line the third base or the second base with your first base bag. I mean, he was way over there, and I haven't seen Herrera hit that many baseballs over there.
Well, not only that, he's deep. It's not like he's shallow
Right.
like you used to see with Juan Pierre and sometimes you see with Ben Revere.
But when you have a very good center fielder playing straight up in center field, you can cheat that way.
2-2 pitch to Herrera. Outside, 3-2. And ball 4, so Odubel's aboard for the second time. That is the first walk issued by Scherzer. He's only walked 9 this year. Well, it's time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. All right, Matt, here we go. What player had the best on-base percentage in 2014 after being down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes?
On a Tuesday. Jason Worth.
Jason Worth is correct. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're a winner. 404 on-base percentage when he was behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Ruiz is the batter with a runner at first. Herrera was off and running, and Carlos fouls it back, so it's 0-1. Little hit and run action there.
I like it. Getting the runners in motion. Tough pitch. Fastball up and in.
Tough pitch. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Herrera has stolen 6 bases this year, but he's been kind of quiet on the base paths recently. He got out of the chute pretty quick in the first month of the season. There he goes. And the pitch is chopped back to the mound, and Scherzer's only play is to first. So 1-3 on the putout, and a runner at second base for Sean O'Sullivan. I still like the idea of action, putting the runner in motion.
I do too, but I don't think that was a hit and run.
No, I don't either.
The only reason why is because Herrera slid head first in the second base.
But you know what I mean? I like the action. I like the hit and run attempt early on. I like the straight steal this time.
Absolutely.
O'Sullivan fouls it back. It's 0-1. See if he can channel his days of being a third baseman at Grossmont Junior College when he hit over 400. Do you know that he was a 400 hitter in college?
No, I did not.
Does that stance look like a guy that wasn't a 400 hitter in college? I mean, he's ready to go.
I like his swing. I know I was back in Canada when you guys were talking about his hitting last time, but I don't think he faced anyone in college who has the stuff that the gentleman on the mound does today.
Yeah, Matt Scherzer's pretty special.
That's a nice open stance. Step out. Thank you.
Making the pitcher work. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He took that pitch like he's a 400 hitter.
Fly ball, right center field. Bryce Harper says he has it, but Span makes the catch. And holding up at second base is Herrera. And 2 outs here in the 5th. Get major news and weather that impacts your day without commercials for 20 minutes straight. Weekdays at 4 p.m. NBC 10. Count on it. Two outs now for Ben Revere, who singled his last time up. He got plus arms out in the outfield. That ball wasn't hit that deep.
Right.
So that's why Herrera didn't even attempt to go to third.
Right, there's no sense. It almost worked out because they almost had a collision in right center between Span and Harper.
Revere had a base hit his last time up that snapped an 0 for 11 slump. Base hit here would look really good. 1-1 game, top of the 5th inning. Chopper to first base, and Ryan Zimmerman will casually take it to the bag. Phillies leave a runner in scoring position. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. Middle of the 5th inning. Ryan Zimmerman will lead it off when we come back. With more than 6 million people in the greater Philadelphia region, there's ample opportunity to help. Build houses, volunteer, or be a mentor. At Citizens Bank, we want to help you bank better. So the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask Citizens. Along with Matt Stairs and Greg Murphy, we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. I'm Tom McCarthy. It'll be Ryan Zimmerman, Wilson Ramos, and Clint Robinson to face Sean O'Sullivan, who's allowed only 2 hits through 4 innings so far. Pitch is low, 1 ball and no strikes. Zimmerman flied out to right his first time up. And that's in on the inside part of the plate, and it's 2-1. Matt, it seems like O'Sullivan's made some adjustments since the first inning or 2.
He has. He's calmed down a little bit. He's hitting the spots. He's using more curveballs than we've seen in the past.
That's a fastball that ran inside. It's 3-1. He's got to be careful here with Zimmerman up.
Yeah, and that's the side of the plate he's having a hard time with right now is away to right-handers. Besides the fastball to Escobar in the first inning that struck him out, fastball low and away, his baseball is tailing back in towards right-handed hitters, which means he's opening up too early with his left shoulder.
Chopper back toward the middle, and that'll get into center field. Only the 3rd hit for Washington. 2nd time they've gotten a leadoff base hit. Wilson Ramos will come up. He fly to center his first time up. Well, Sullivan very efficient in the third inning, threw 8 pitches. In the fourth inning, he threw 7 pitches. Well, Zimmerman made him work somewhat in that at bat alone. He's down low, 1-0.
Ramos a good hitter to double up. Hits the ball hard on the ground. Doesn't have the greatest speed.
One ball and 1 strike.
Guess that's why his nickname's the Buffalo.
The Buffalo.
The Buffalo. El Torre versus the Buffalo. I don't know how to say Buffalo in Spanish.
Murphy got an idea about that one?
That one I don't know.
Google it for me.
I'm working on it.
Ground ball to third. Franco flags it, flips to second in time to get the lead runner. Well, that's a big time play by Maikel Franco. 5-4 on the putout. Yeah, there's 1 out here in the 5th inning.
Well, it's a very nice play, him going to his right, but coming up and throwing a missile from underneath. Very nice play by Chase as well. Realizing that you can't get a double play. There's the strength right there. I mean, even though he does short hop it, just having the presence of throwing to second base and getting the lead runner.
Yeah,
nice play at third and nice play at second base.
And not throwing it into right field.
Right.
Yeah, Chase became a first baseman there with that scoop. And he didn't even think about the runner going to first. Robinson grounded out his first time up. Breaking ball, a little high, and it's 1-0.
Good location.
Yeah, he snuck that fastball right at the knees, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Sullivan first came to the major leagues in 2009 with the LA Angels. Pitched in 12 games, won 4 of them. Angels made him a 3rd round selection in the 5th round. Here's Odubel Herrera who makes the catch. So 2 outs. Danny Espinosa's coming up, and 2 outs have been somewhat profitable, Murph, for the Washington Nationals.
They are doing a good job with 2 outs this year, Tom. You're right. It's our T-Mobile game changer. The Nationals have tallied 119 2-out hits. That's 9th best in all of baseball. Arizona, you see there at the top with 140 2-out hits this season. Kansas City right behind. You can see the Nats aren't that far out of 4th place on that list. A couple 2-out hits in a ball game will move them up, but they've done a nice job with that, and everybody knows when you can move the runners and score some runs with 2 outs, that is a good thing for your baseball team.
I feel like we're missing something with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, they're 2nd in the league in runs. They're 1st in the league in 2-out hits. There's a check swing foul ball, and it's 0-1.
Hey, Tom, for the record, the translation of Buffalo into Spanish, I believe, is Buffalo. So I think maybe we'll remember that next time.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. So.
Thanks, Murph.
You got it.
Could ask Pete McCannon. He's fluent in Spanish. He's right in front of you. No balls and 1 strike. Out front of an off-speed pitch. It's 0-2. Toyota Major League scoreboard. The Pirates lead the Mets 2-1. That game's in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets are currently right behind the Nationals in the East. Half game behind them. That matchup tonight is Garrett Cole on the mound for the Pirates. And I believe Matt Harvey on the hill. Nope, it's Syndergaard on the hill for the Mets. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
This is the pitch right here you want action. You don't want to get 3 balls, 2 strikes. You give a guy at the first base a chance to get a good secondary lead to try to score with 2 outs.
So now it is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Be careful here, though. You do have Scherzer in the on-deck circle. Even though if Espinosa gets on, Ryan Sandberg will see runners on first and second with 2 men down.
Well, and they got no balls, 2 strikes very quickly. Went with an elevated fastball, slider in the dirt, another slider in the dirt. Go with a nice changeup right here.
They just moved Howard over toward the line another step.
Chooch kind of gave the fastball sign, and he kind of put it down like real slowly, like I don't know if I want this or not.
Do it with authority, Carlos. Do it with authority.
No sign.
No sign. Runner goes. Pitch is chopped over to first. Ryan Howard positioned perfectly, and the side is retired. Pretty interesting sequence right there. Carlos Ruiz basically said, "It's your call. Just fire it." Number 6 is key to the Phillies offense. His successful swings are making Phillies fans jump for joy. And they're brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the run for Ryan Howard includes a double in tonight's ball game. And the Phillies and the Nationals are even at 1. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Freddie Galvis will lead things off, and let's talk about Freddie Galvis. Murph, what did Ryan Sandberg have to say about him today?
Well, you know, Tom, that Freddie came into tonight's game leading all shortstops in the National League and on-base percentage and batting average, and he's tied for second in hits as well. But it has been a struggle for him of late, as you mentioned, just 3 of 22 now in the last 4 games for him, or 5 games if you include tonight. So he's been struggling just a bit, and Ryan Sandberg was asked if he's noticed anything different about it. We've talked so much about how Freddie has kind of changed his swing and shortened his swing and really has tried to hit the ball down on the ground and beat balls out. And Ryan said he really hasn't noticed anything different. He thinks that at this point, Freddie's just running into a little bit of bad luck, hitting balls where fielders are, and he expects that to change, although he pops that one up. But most of the time, he's liked what he has seen from Freddie Galvis and the way he is continuing to swing through the ball, and that's what they want to see from him, and they're hoping that things will turn around for him. But it has been a struggle of late for Freddie, as you watch his batting average dip just a little bit.
Yeah, and Murph, I agree to a certain extent with it. I find he's hitting too many baseballs in the air, and that comes from being a defensive hitter. He's losing the aggressive swing of hitting the baseball hard. He's kind of guiding it, wanting to make contact, cutting the swing off. And that's why he's been hitting so many fly balls lately. He needs to get out of that. He needs to stop thinking, because he's starting to think right now. And I told you, hitters cannot think. We're not smart enough.
Well, you know, that's a good point. But, you know, you would agree that early in the season, when, you know, especially when he got down to 2 strikes, that he was really just trying to concentrate, putting that bat on the ball and putting it into play. And I think, you know, Sandberg was trying to talk about trying to get him back to doing that and being a little bit more of a defensive guy when he gets down to the count.
Denard Span can't get that one off the bat of Chase Utley, and Utley's on his way to second, and he'll be there standing. 3rd double of the game for the Phils, who, by the way, have been racking up the doubles over the last 10 days or so. So Utley's at second base. That's his 6th double of the season.
To the rotation, the side spin, which means it's a 2-seam fastball. Chase with a very nice swing, head down. Span just out of the reach from the center field. That's about 5 times we've seen him turn around and run after baseballs like that.
He's had some busy action out there in center. He has run down a couple. Ryan Howard is 1 for 2. He doubled his first time up, struck out his last time. Checks his swing, 1 ball and no strikes. They do appeal, but he didn't go. Ryan with 39 career home runs against the Nationals. Included in that are a bunch that went into the upper tank at RFK Stadium. That one's pulled into the shift. Espinosa's got it, and he throws out Howard, so 2 outs. Follow the Phillies all season in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Well, not much Ryan could do with that one. He did hit it hard, but again, right into the shift. Maikel Franco is 0 for 2. Fielder's choice his first time up. And chopped one back to the mound his second time. In fact, both times he hit the ball back to the mound. Lights off the 0-2 pitch to stay alive.
At 97.
Now that's the hardest one he's thrown tonight.
Yes.
See what the Phillies have done with runners in scoring position. The Nationals, well, they haven't had an opportunity with a runner in scoring position. Their run scored on the home run by Harper. Sean O'Sullivan's been very good for the Phils tonight. Scherzer's been very good. He's over at third. He doubled, went to third base on the line drive one hopper by Howard. Oh-2 is lifted to right field, but it's right at Bryce Harper. And the inning is over. So the Phils threaten again. They get a runner in scoring position for the second straight inning. They do not score. Middle of the sixth. Still a 1-1 game. Scherzer will lead it off. Offers on our most exciting lineup ever. ShopNissan.com. By Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. And by Jefferson, where health is all we do. Call 1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. Bottom of the sixth inning, 1-1 game. Max Scherzer will lead things off for the Nationals against Sean O'Sullivan, who has done his best today to keep the Nationals offense quiet. And Scherzer way out in front of a breaking ball. It's 0-1. Scherzer was retired by Freddie Galvis his first time up. Another curveball popped up. Shallow right field toward foul territory. Utley's on the run. He won't get there. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Really no harm. It was a foul ball. If it had dropped in fair territory, there's a good chance Scherzer would have been on second base.
Chase goes a long way. That's no man's land right there. I bet you in spring training, you probably see 30, 40, 50 balls in batting practice where they practice those like before the season starts or before spring training games. They get the machine set up. It's easy then because you start cheating.
Yeah, we've watched it on the backfields, you know, and they have it going on 2 different fields at one time. But you're right, you do see the guys sort of breaking before the ball goes.
Yeah.
Line drive, base hit into right field. Well, Scherzer was sprinting up the line because I think he was worried that Sizemore was going to come up and start firing to first base. So a leadoff single.
He plays it to right field, and he knows he has to get on the horse because the right fielder plays a little shallower. Now with Frenchie in right field, he lives for that.
Denard Span is grounded out. He's also popped out 0 for 2. First pitch is on the outside corner. No breaking ball, and it's 0-1. As Matt alluded to, Span has been hot, 356, and they've been better since he came back. He's not among the league leaders in batting average because he doesn't have enough plate appearances.
He has a very different setup with his front foot. It's turned inward. Right here, he'll turn his foot inside right there. And what that does is it keeps this hip right here locked in.
Fly ball right field. Sizemore has it all lined up. On Sunday, June 7th, the folks at the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW, Local 98, they really sponsor some great T-shirt giveaways year in and year out. Well, this time, it's a Ken Giles T-shirt, free to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. The wrap-up of a 3-game series between the Phils and the Giants. Ian Desmond is 0 for 2. He is struck out, flied out to left. Inside, 1-0.
Flinched.
That looked like a pretty good pitch.
So Chooch wants it out, then he comes in. Just missed if anything.
Now that one there's no argument about. Right down the chute. 2-1.
Kind of surprising to see Ian Desmond take a 2-0 fastball right down the middle.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm watching that one come in. I'm thinking, oh man, he's going to launch it, or at least attempt to launch it. Fly ball center field. Herrera going back toward the wall. He jumps and it's off the top of the wall. Scherzer on his way to third. They'll hold him up there. No, they're going to wave him home. Galvis's throw to the plate is not in time. And the Nationals take a 2-1 lead. Well, it's partly because Scherzer led off this inning with a single. Only his 4th hit of the year. Desmond with his 12th double. Well, Odubel Herrera will learn each ballpark as he plays more games in those ballparks.
He will learn. Hopefully he learns from that ball right there. I mean, Max does a pretty good job. He gets to second base, realizes now he's not going to be able to catch it. Kicks in extra gear, but you got to realize in outfield, if you cannot get the ball in the outfield, the two things you can do: you can actually fake that you're going to catch it, realizing it's going to be off the wall, or knowing where he looked up and noticed it, you got to start running back towards the infield.
Yeah, because in all honesty, Sizemore was there to back up, which was great. but he had to go, let's say, 7-8 feet before he actually picked it up.
Right.
And that enabled Scherzer to score.
Yeah.
We mentioned the other night that Herrera's probably misplayed one ball this year. I remembered another one against the wall.
Yep.
So probably 3 balls he's misplayed this year, including that one.
And those plays you'll learn. Once you play the ballparks more often,
Absolutely.
You'll learn how the wind's blowing.
Softly to shortstop. Galvis' only play is to first. Escobar is retired. So 2 outs. Harper's up. Can't imagine they're going to pitch to him. Signals 4. So Harper will be intentionally walked. He's the league leader in walks. Zimmerman is dangerous, but he's not Bryce Harper hot right now, and he's a right-handed batter. So this is the right move when you're trailing by 1 and you want to try to minimize the damage.
Absolutely.
Or even get out of the inning. 2 balls, no strikes to Harper. Well, the reason they walk him intentionally is because he has 11 home runs here in the month of May. He's been scorching hot, and here was number 11.
This came back in the first inning. It was a fastball. I'm sorry, in the second inning, fastball up out of the zone. Supposed to be fastball inside. And when you swing the bat well, you hit mistakes, and that's what happened right there. And that's why he drew an intentional walk.
So a meeting on the mound. Bob McClure comes out to chat with O'Sullivan. And it brings the rest, or brings 3/5 of the infielders in. Araujo, who pitched in yesterday's game, is up in the bullpen.
Sandberg going through some signs, telling Choots if he wants him to throw through or not. I can't imagine if Bryce Harper tries to steal second base, and they'll throw through.
You think they will throw through?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I think they'll do
just a pump fake.
Yeah, pump fake. That way you can keep the infielders up the middle from moving and opening up any bigger holes in the infield.
Zimmerman did single up the middle his last time up, and he takes low. It's 1-0. He's been pretty good, as you see there, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Aside from the second, this is the toughest stretch he's had. 20 pitches here in the 6th. Outside, 2-1. Run is in here in the 6th inning on an RBI double by Ian Desmond. It scored Max Scherzer, who led off the inning with a single to right. Runners take their lead off first and third. Ground ball toward third. Franco has it. And his throw to first is in time, and the side is retired. All right, so he minimized the damage. 1 run on 2 hits, 2 men left. Ian Desmond has given the Nationals a 2-1 lead as we move to the 7th. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. The Phillies trail the Nationals 2-1 as we go to the 7th inning. Sean O'Sullivan's been pretty good for the Phils, but Max Scherzer has been just a little bit better on the mound than at the plate. He just singled in the bottom of the 6th inning and scored the go-ahead run. Bryce Harper, his league-leading 16th home run. That was back in the 2nd. Jeff Francoeur chatting with Odubel Herrera about that ball that was hit by Ian Desmond. Kind of letting him know, because the fence is as high as it is, what he should do. Just kind of what you were talking about, Matt.
Well, and also note the angle. Right up where the Geico sign is, it has a little angle, so knowing that the ball is going to hit off that wall and shoot back towards center field.
Swing and a miss with 1 ball and 1 strike. Sizemore is 0 for 2. He has struck out. He's also flied to center. And Sizemore has struck out for the 2nd time. Some strikeouts for Scherzer. Time now for our Geico quote of the day. Steve McCatty, the pitching coach for the Nationals, on the struggles of the Nats starters. People look at us and say, geez, they're not supposed to give up a run. I've said from the beginning, if they have a chance, everybody is pitching to their full capabilities. We have a chance to be really good, but there are going to be some of those bumpy roads. Well, this is a long road, but they still lead the division. And they have this guy that could really lead their rotation. Now they've lost Doug Fister to a sore shoulder. In fact, Matt Williams was saying today that, you know, it's more of a precaution than anything else that they have the ability to shut him down. So that's why they're doing it, because they have Tanner Roark, who they can put into the rotation, and they've started to stretch Roark out. In fact, he threw batting practice today. I don't think it was a simulated game. There's Roark talking to Jason Worth. It was more batting practice to get some extra work in to stretch his arm out.
I believe he's starting Monday.
He's going to start Monday, correct. 1-1 pitch to Herrera. Breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Hobart was their best pitcher last year.
Yeah, win-wise, 15 wins.
It really was.
Max Scherzer is right at his average, 7 1/3. Matt Thornton, the left-hander, warming up in the bullpen. Danny Espinosa to his left and in a step throws out Herrera. And now 2 quick outs here in the 7th. And Carlos Ruiz is due up for the Phillies. There's Luis Garcia warming up in the bullpen. Pitcher spot is due up next, and Cesar Hernandez is out in the on-deck circle. Good job tonight by Sean O'Sullivan. 6 innings. You know, he allows 2 runs on 5 base hits. He'd obviously like the Scherzer at bat back.
Right. You think he's done?
Well, that's true. If Hernandez doesn't bat, then it's decision time. I think he's done. But oh, 2.
He's done. Pitchers don't do that much talking in between innings.
Out towards center field. And Denard Span is under it, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Well, it's time to stretch here at Nationals Park. Sean O'Sullivan's night is done. 2-1 Nationals. Of the game. All right, we've seen some pretty good leather being thrown around by Freddie Galvis this season so far, Matt.
Yeah, and it was a 3-1 fastball to Bryce Harper. It's a fastball, baseball up the middle. Galvis makes a nice play because Escobar was not running on the play. Glad to do a 6-3 double play. Howard, a very nice play at first base. That's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, Freddie Galvis goes back to work. Sean O'Sullivan's work is done. And as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, Luis Garcia will be the new pitcher. Garcia 1-1 this year, an ERA of 3.48. He pitched in 2 of the 4 games in Colorado. Went 2/3 an inning one night, 1 inning the other night, and he delivers a slider for a strike. It's 0-1. Phillies have 2 more at bats to try to get a run back. It looks like Scherzer, well, it depends on whether his spot comes up here, but nobody's warming up in the bullpen right now for the Nationals. Inside corner, 0-2. Just stayed alive as he punches it into the camera well on the first base side. And it remains 1-2. Ramos fly to center in the second inning and then reached on a fielder's choice on an outstanding play by Maikel Franco over at third base in the 5th. Got him with a fastball, 97. And 1 out here in the 7th inning. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, which Sean O'Sullivan did twice tonight, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. So 1 away here in the 7th. And Clint Robinson, who's hitless in 2 at-bats. Scherzer looks like he's getting his helmet, his batting gloves. Doesn't look like they're going to go to the bullpen anytime soon. And that one's inside. It's 1-1. And Michael Taylor was there in the dugout along with Scherzer. So I think a lot of it depends on what happens with these next 2 hitters.
They get a runner on with 2 outs. You got to add on. Even though he is pitching extremely well through 7 innings.
Line drive, one hopper past Utley into right field. So Robinson has his first hit of the night. And Danny Espinosa will be coming up. Espinosa has struck out looking. He's grounded out to first. And now Taylor will come on to pinch run for Robinson over at first. So Scherzer looks like will bat. Unless somebody does get into scoring position, then they may rethink that strategy. And Taylor is a threat to run. He's got a good lead off first. And he broke and then stopped. Pitches low and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Orioles are leading the Marlins 5-3. That game's in the top of the 6th. Delman Young, he's still hitting. Marlins have lost 7 straight. Outside, 2-0.
That's where it's so important to have something off the bench who can run and steal bases. Because the first 2 pitched by Garcia He was rushing everything to get to home plate to give Chooch a chance to throw Taylor if he runs, and he's forgetting about his mechanics. Misses down and in, misses on a curveball up and away. Make a good pitch, don't worry about the hitter.
Throw over to first base, Taylor's back. Yeah, you wonder if that's what Freddie Galvis even said to him when he went in and talked to him. Galvis looked diminutive next to Luis Garcia, but he looked forceful with what he was saying. Two balls and one strike. He gets him to swing over top of that one. Taylor has stolen 4 bases this year. He is 4 for 6 in stolen base attempts. Most he stole in the minor leagues was 51. That was back in 2013. 37 a year ago.
Got him.
Oh, they had him leaning, and he is out at first base. And Taylor is picked off for the second out here in the 7th. You know, I wasn't sure if they would get him because where Howard sets up on those throws, but he was inching towards second so much that Howard had an easy play to tag him out.
He flinches, and that's a perfect throw.
Yep.
A good tag by Ryan. Right there, he flinched, got on his weight on the right side. By the time he turned around, no moss.
And now Espinosa shows bunt and bunts it foul. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Unless you think that somebody's going to pinch hit for Scherzer, why would you bunt there?
Why? Yeah, I know it looks nice on your average. You got a base hit. And I know Scherzer's got Max has got a base hit tonight. But come on. 2-1.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball on the side. Is retired. Well, the pickoff was huge for Luis Garcia. So were the 2 strikeouts. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. This is why nobody's left. Michael Taylor was itching to go to second base. After he was picked off, Danny Espinosa goes down swinging, and we move to the 8th. Coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And buy the Quality Plus sports stores. Go further. 2-1 Nationals. We go to the top of the 8th inning. Very well played ball game so far. Not a whole lot of offense, a lot of pitching. Michael Taylor will stay in the game and play left field. After he was picked off first base, he didn't just keep on going into the clubhouse. He still had some responsibilities defensively. And Cesar Hernandez will pinch hit. Cesar pinch hitting for Luis Garcia. Then Giles is warming up in the bullpen. See what Cesar's done as a pinch hitter this year, 3 of 14. Phillies as a team are tied for second in the National League, or I should say in Major League Baseball, in pinch hits. They have 16. Back-to-back fastballs, and it's 0-2. Thornton is at the ready just in case. Well, he's reached 100 pitches. Except for the second inning, he's been pretty good. Kind of interesting look at his Scherzer, look back at the scoreboard to see what his velocity was on that fastball. There's a changeup. He breaks his bat. He rolls it to second, and there's one out. We'll make your plans next weekend for the Phillies and the Colorado Rockies. Friday, May 29th, 7:05. Saturday, the 30th, is a 3:05 start, and Sunday, the 31st, will begin at 1:35. A free bucket hat for fans 14 and under. It's Wistar Institute Melanoma Awareness Day, presented by Independence Blue Cross and Citizens Bank. Tickets can be purchased for all 3 games by going to Phillies.com. Ben Revere is 1 for 3. Shows bunt, takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Another fastball, and it's fouled away. So fastball, changeup, fastball. And he's working quickly right now.
And that's the 2 pitches he's been using probably in the last 3 innings. Fastball change, fastball change. He's going to double up with the change and come back with the heater. I'm saying heater.
Fly ball, left center field, and Denard Span doesn't have to venture back toward the warning track for this one, and there are 2 outs in the 8th inning. Well, at this pace, Scherzer's going to lead the National League in innings pitched the way it's going. You saw that graphic about the number of games that he has thrown, at least 7 innings. Well, now he's got 2 outs here in the 8th. Freddie Galvis is the batter. He's 0 for 3. I figure if he loses Galvis, there's a chance they'll go to Thornton. This is only a 1-run game. Chopper to second base. Danny Espinosa is up with it. Scherzer's already heading back to the dugout. It's a 1-2-3 8th inning. 8 in a row retired by Scherzer. His evening may be complete. We'll find out. The fans think there's a chance it is. He's been congratulated as he goes to the dugout. He's got a 2-1 lead. and that means Max Scherzer's work is done, and it was pretty good here tonight, Matt.
That was very good, and everyone talks about how good his fastball is. Well, tonight he had a very good changeup. Getting shoots right there. Coming back with Ryan Howard with another changeup. Brady Sizemore with a nice changeup as well. And oh, by the way, he got a base in the right field in the 6th inning and scored on a double ball by Ian Desmond to go-ahead run.
Yeah, it turns out to be the margin right now for the Nationals, that run. So 8 innings, 4 hits for Scherzer, 1 run. Phillies did hit a couple balls pretty hard. In fact, Denard Span was able to track something down in the bullpen. Well, this is not a good sign. Kenny Giles warming up. Something's bothered him. And here comes Sean Picasny and Bob McClure out to the mound to check him out. Ryan Sandberg is there too. He warmed up in the bullpen, seemed to be okay. And now here on the mound, something didn't feel right for Ken Giles. I didn't see anything, Matt. All right, let's take a look at this. And Giles' warm-up toss. Right there, he starts to shake his arm. And right there, you get that sort of pins and needle feeling in your hands. And that's when they started coming out.
He's got a cut in his hand.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right, well, you know, when he had that back, when he had that back injury, in Toronto, everybody was all nervous that it was something with his shoulder or his elbow. Anytime something like that happens with a guy like Giles with such ability, you kind of cringe. I don't know if they put some kind of a liquid Band-Aid on his on the blister. Or...
that's the stuff to keep you from bleeding.
Yeah.
What's the stuff you use when you shave? And I've never been clean shaved, so I don't know. So if you're bleeding, you put that little ointment on to stop you bleeding right away.
All right, so it's ointment to stop the bleeding. I don't know what it's called.
But it is that's a good relief, especially when you see him looking down at his hand and he's kind of
shaking it out. Matt, I'm told it's a styptic pencil.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I've never used one before. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, our statistician, has used a styptic pencil. Chuck goes to the same hairstylist as me and Matt, so I'm sure that's why he uses one. So Tyler Moore will lead things off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. First pitch is in there for a strike. That was a slider at 85. Looked like that blister was on the inside of his thumb. Oh, and 2. Now I would think it would affect the slider, but it hasn't affected these first 2 sliders.
It's actually on the top by his thumbnail. Or, I'm sorry, not by his thumbnail, by his knuckle. Above his knuckle. And I'm trying to figure out, I've been going through all the slider motion and the fastball motion, how he would get that.
Awkward to second base. Chase Utley is there. And there's one out here in the 8th inning. And now back to the top of the order for Denard Span. Well, this is before he moved his hand. And this is where they were working on it. Sean Picasny trying to seal it up there.
And of course, you have to have permission to put something on your hand like that from the umpire.
Well, and I think it's becoming more and more evident after what happened with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Eight-game suspension?
Yeah. Will Smith was caught with pine tar on his arm. And Major League Baseball announced today an 8-game suspension. No balls, 1 strike to Denard Span. Fly ball down the left field line, and Revere will watch it go into the crowd, so it's 0-2.
That's the first fastball. that Giles is throwing, so I was wondering if it gave a little effect on his fastball. It just proved me wrong at 96.
Swing and a miss. He got him. They went out of the strike zone with that one, and there are 2 outs. Ian Desmond's coming up. It's time for the Major League Notebook, Murph.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, the Red Sox are in search of a spark in their lineup, so they have called up Rusney Castillo. Castillo was signed last August, you'll remember, to a $72 million deal. He played 10 games with the club in September, where he batted .333 and hit a couple of home runs. Jackie Bradley Jr. has been optioned down to AAA to make room for Castillo. And Major League Baseball, as you mentioned, has dropped the hammer on Will Smith, the Milwaukee Brewers relief pitcher, for that illegal substance that he had on his wrist in yesterday's game. They have suspended him for 8 games. 8 games for a relief pitcher, which is an awful lot. Now, Smith did say that he is going to appeal that, not because he is arguing whether or not he is guilty or not. He just thinks the penalty is a little stiff. So he is available tonight until Major League Baseball hears that appeal. He will be allowed to pitch. He's hoping that that sentence gets cut down. But it is a hefty fine for those 8 games for a relief pitcher he'll be missing. Guys?
You know, it's funny because he had it on his arm. Everybody knows he had it on his arm. Why would they decrease the number of games he's suspended for? It's illegal to do it in the game of baseball. You're not allowed to do it. Drew Storen just finished his warm-up tosses. Three balls and 1 strike to Desmond. Toyota Major League scoreboard. Speaking of the Brewers, they're shutting out the Braves 10-0. Ryan Braun, a home run and 4 RBIs.
Now, is that 8-game suspension? That's with or without pay? I think it's with pay.
Yeah, see, I would have assumed it was without.
I mean, I might be wrong. I usually am.
No, you could be right. I mean, there's certain things that happen when you are suspended. And sometimes you do get money, you do get your pay, sometimes you don't. So a 2-out walk, and here's Yunel Escobar. Escobar is 1 for 3. He struck out, he singled, he also grounded out to shortstop. Fouls it away down the right field line. 0-1. Fastball inside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. He's got a pretty good jump on his fastball here tonight.
Understood why hitters take a bad swing like that and then walk around the circle and they curse and out loud, and I mean, just get back in the batter's box.
It's not going to change anything.
Well, no.
Inside, 2-2. That wasn't really that close. Phillies in the top of the ninth inning will have Utley, Howard, and Franco against Drew Storen. Nationals also added Casey Jansen to their bullpen today. They had thought that Jansen would battle Storen for the closer's role, but he's been on the DL. Well, so far the four-seam fastballs range from 95 to 98. The slider 84 to 88. Runner goes, pitch is lifted in the air to shallow center field. Galvis says he has it, makes the catch, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits, and one man left. Drew Storen is coming in, and he'll face Chase Utley when we return for the top of the ninth. NBC News at 4, NBC 10 News at 4 p.m. The only station with 20 minutes of nonstop news. Weekdays at 4. NBC 10. Count on it. Well, the Phillies trail at 2-1 as we go to the top of the ninth inning. Time now for our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Well, comes back in the sixth inning. Ian Desmond, after Max Scherzer leading off the inning with a single. It's a deep drive off the Geico sign in center field. Misplayed by Herrera. Max coming around third, stumbling, but scores the go-ahead run. So the W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Well, Storen goes 8 innings tonight. Excuse me, Scherzer goes 8 innings tonight, allows 4 hits and 1 run, and now Storen comes on to try to pick up his 13th save. Now his ERA this year 1.04. The number of walks, that's where I think he's made the biggest adjustment this year to the closer's role, which he used to be in and then was taken out of for Rafael Soriano.
Well, the last thing you want to do is bring a closer in who's afraid to pitch to contact. You need to pound the strike zone, trust your stuff, and you can't pitch scared. At times he can. Drew Storen. He kind of pitches away from contact at times.
Utley is 1 for 3. Up high, 2 balls and no strikes. The alignment of the infield, the alignment of the outfield. The outfielders are deep all the way around, trying to cut off the alleys as best they can. And Utley takes a strike, and it's 2-1. Even that number right there, 188 batting average, and just 1 walk to the leadoff hitter. in Storen's games. Sandberg, Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur most likely will bat if Sizemore's spot comes up. Maybe not. We'll see. And Utley loops one out toward left center field. Desmond going out, and he can't get it. It's a base hit. And Utley's aboard, so the tying run is at first here in the top of the 9th inning. And Ryan Howard, who's 1 for 3, will come to the plate.
That's a base hit right there. You always worry about, because your infielders are playing back, but your outfielders are playing way back. And it's always that Texas slugger that falls in between. I don't think the outfielders would have a chance, but it's nice to see Chase shorten up his swing, 2-out base hit, get another 2-hit night.
Let's see what Howard can do here. The infield is set up to try to turn 2, or at least get the out at second base, so there's plenty of room out in right center field for Howard. See his numbers against Storen, 4 for 7 against him.
And the outfielders are still playing no depth, or no double, in the outfield, because they don't want a ball hit over their head.
Well, he's fallen behind the first 2 batters that he's faced here.
Overthrown. That's why everything's going up in the zone. Instead of relying on pinpoint accuracy, he's overthrown, and that's why he's up.
And he comes back with that slider. It's 2-2.
It's actually a very good call by Ramos. Get him out in front of that slider. We get his hand on top of the ball, get down with the slider motion.
Got him again with it. So 1 out here in the 9th inning. Back-to-back sliders. And Maikel Franco will be the hitter.
That's a good pitch. Fastball's not working. You get down there throwing the slider. It's in a dangerous zone because you'd like to have that to the back foot. But Ryan Howard swung at it like it was almost like a fastball. Over top of it.
Well, let's see what Franco could do. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Takes a breaking ball. It's 0-1. All right, so 3 straight breaking pitches, 3 straight sliders from Storen. Back toward the middle, off the mound. And it's kicked into left field. Utley is thinking about going to third, but holds up. It'll put runners on first and second with 1 man down. That still may be a base hit.
Well, it should be. That's a base hit.
So runners on first and second. It will be Sizemore that will bat.
Ian slides and he knocks it down, and then Desmond kicks it with his left foot. I thought Chase was going to just try to go to third base.
See it right here, boom, and then Espinosa flicked it into left field. Yep. All right, so runners on first and second with 1 away. Sizemore is 0 for 3, struck out twice. And he lifts that one to left field. Playable for Taylor. And there are 2 outs. So now the Nationals down to their final out. And Odubel Herrera will be the batter. 35,893 on their feet. RBI double his first time up. You might see some sliders here, don't you think?
Yeah, the last 3 pitches to the left-handers all been sliders. Make that 4.
Outside, and it's 1-0. That did go around the outside part of the plate. Check swing, he went around. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Throw many changeups. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Phils down to their final out and final strike.
Kind of surprising with those sliders after slider and that fastball. All of a sudden now he picks the time to throw a changeup.
Runners lead off. The 1 ball, 2 strike pitch to Odubel Herrera. Swing and a miss. He got him with a high fastball, and the ball game is over. Phillies get a couple base runners here in the 9th inning, but the Nationals hang on and win it by a final score of 2-1. They've now won 6 consecutive games, and they take game 1 of this 3-game series. Bryce Harper's home run provided the first run. Ian Desmond's double provided the second run. And that's all Max Scherzer and Drew Storen needed to give the Nationals the victory. And our Chevrolet player of the game is Max Scherzer. He did a little bit at the plate, but this is all pitching right here because he was dominant at times.
Well, he was. He threw 8 innings. He struck out 6. He only walked 1 guy. And we talked about it before, his great command of his fastball. Well, tonight he had tremendous control of his changeup. Had guys out in front off the front foot swinging, changeup after changeup when he needed to come up. You know, and really, he kept the hitters off balance. And it looks like they were thinking different. Every time they looked at the fastball, he threw a slider. He did a well-deserved walk-off standing ovation in the 8th inning.
So he picks up his 5th victory of the season. Again, the Nationals don't score a whole lot of runs for him, but he didn't need a whole lot of runs here tonight. They win it 2-1. We'll be back to Nationals Park right after these messages.